I just wanted to get something off of my chest that has been really annoying me for what probably amounts to the last, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years, however long it's been that the tech companies have started to just completely infest the entire internet with generative AI, because I am so sick of it showing up everywhere. So I kind of just want to do a little bit of a rant on the overall situation when it comes to that sort of thing, kind of using one of my own personal experiences as a bit of a springboard to potentially talk about the larger issue, because I really gotta tell y'all, I'm really sick of these her ass mother loving bucket of bolts doing every little thing around the entire internet. This also comes off of the heels of a lot of news covering Facebook deciding to try to roll out AI profiles on their platform, which was met with an intense amount of backlash by what has to amount to, I would say, millions of users, which, of course, when it comes to something like social media, as much as these tech companies and advertisers and whoever else has a piece of this pie will tell you, it is people powered. It requires people's eyeballs. It requires people's attention to be able to sell you advertisements, to give you ad space, which is where the attention is. It's in the audience, it's in the user base. It's why they constantly want you to engage. It's not because Facebook really cares about you catching up on what's going on with your dear grandma's Rottweiler or hearing about some kind of news event in your area. No, it's because they want your eyeballs locked and fixed. They can gain value off of the space that you take up on their social media platforms. With that in mind, keeping in mind that the product is us, we are the thing that is being sold in many ways to these advertisers, and our engagement, that is. I don't understand why Facebook thought that creating what amounts to fake profiles taking up space on their website, which people are going to stumble into and think are real people, which is really ultimately the biggest problem in all of this AI slop, is using Facebook as an example. If someone stumbles upon a profile that looks exactly like every other profile, but it is an AI generated fake person, this person is not real. Why? There's no way for even intelligent-minded people from being able to tell the difference between an AI-generated fake profile or a real one. I am just so sick of AI being thrown into everything. You see tons and tons of art being slapped all over the internet that looks like a weird mix of somebody opening up Microsoft Paint or whatever illustration app that they've used, mixed with like cinematic CGI. The artists get less shine because they're ultimately pulling from their artwork. You get these lower quality, soulless images, and then you get AI articles, Google embracing AI, having a lot of their searches be a generative AI backed, and then you get other things like Grammarly, which I think that's fine just overall with using that sort of thing to make, a spell check. But if there isn't a human input and it's just AI, it is just computer algorithm building on computer algorithm building on computer algorithm with very little mind for human input, the humanization of a lot of these things, then it creates a problem. For example, why I bring up Grammarly, because there's many times with my spell check, which I am pretty sure is ran by AI, where they have given me a spell check suggestion that is completely wrong. While I think that something like grammarly, in the grand scheme of things, isn't that big of a deal. If generative AI, i.e. a set of zeros and ones, a set of code that is then translated into zeros and ones to be ran across different computer devices, compounding on each other to create recognizable patterns in order to generate information, etc., is the thing that is dealing with complex things like human language, how we interact with one another, art, all of these incredibly complex human phenomena. The soul is going to be coming out of it. It is not going to seem real. It's just going to do nothing but, I think, potentially do what could amount to long-term damage to the human psyche. I don't know. I'm not fear-mongering there. It's just that if this is the information that if this is the way that information is going to be continued to be passed down for however long, it's going to have effect on the human mind. What that looks like, whether it's deterreless or not, I suppose I can't say. Yeah, so pretty sure there's other voice, what is it? Like, you can do voice searches that's powered by AI. There's this commercial that I saw that oh my gosh, what was it? It was like a travel app that has AI. Like any app I feel like has some kind of weird AI integration, which feels more like a bunch of people in Silicon Valley and other different tech hotspots just trying to force the trend of AI onto people who may or may not want it otherwise. I kind of did this video a bit, I guess we can just say backwards, because I was originally going to talk about my own personal life with a particular instance of AI slop, or I guess what you could call what would it be? AI overcrowding. I think the only instance of overpopulation I'm ever gonna believe in is AI overpopulation. Anyway, so on to my personal example. I'm really interested in learning different things. I really like being as scholarly as I can as a layman in the position that I'm currently in. One of my goals for the past, I want to say, I don't know how many months, maybe 3-4 months, is learning more Arabic. I will seek out these translator apps to translate different things that are either in Arabic to English or in English to Arabic, so I can understand them better. Every single translator app that I have found is fucking powered by AI, by generative AI. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to machines, to things that do not have, I suppose, what we would call like consciousness or deeper understanding of our conditions, having sway over these sorts of things, because like I don't mind if AI is doing tweaks on the odds and ends of that sort of thing, but I don't want a translation app that is entirely powered by artificial intelligence. I just don't. And there's so many different times where I would use an app and I would type something in. It would give me gibberish, or nonsense, or it wouldn't make as much sense as I would need it to. I'm just incredibly frustrated because I want to learn Arabic. Traveling to different parts of the Middle East or different Arab-speaking parts of the world is something that is on my bucket list, something that I will want to spend a significant of my life doing. But in order for me to be able to have the tools that I need for that, I'm gonna have to be able to speak Arabic on some kind of level. If the tools that I have at my fingertips are translator apps, are powered almost entirely by generative AI, I'm not quite sure if what I'm learning is going to be able to give me the capacity to even speak like another human being is speaking to another human being. That's kind of the problem, is that AI just, at least for me, it felt like it just kind of popped, not necessarily out of nowhere, but it just started showing up in more and more things that it doesn't necessarily need to be in. I don't know how to tell whoever is in Silicon Valley in Texas or whatever, like, I don't know what you would call them, like tech hubs, need to hear. I understand we live in the digital age, but we are not, and I repeat, we are not digital pigs that you can just feed slop to constantly. Ill-made, incoherent trash constantly, and expect us to come back to the trough for more food. It's just not going to happen. I'm just incredibly frustrated by that sort of thing. Not to mention the fact that like the accuracy of these types of AI models, once they start, it's called recursion, which is basically a bot learning how to figure out a particular pattern and then just using what it learned and figuring out that pattern to build upon itself. That's called, in computer science, from my understanding, recursion. So like once these things start to recurse, exponentially build on themselves, they become less and less accurate. What does that mean for human communication over the internet if a lot of all of these different tools and spaces that we have are slowly more and more being infected? Because it's a plague. We're in the middle of Egypt being swarmed by locusts right now, except the locusts are really badly written chat GPT scripts. But anyway, I got off track. But what does the future look like when so many of these things are going to be less and less accurate? This is why I think that something like Grammarly using AI for correcting grammar, what I was mentioning earlier about AI translator apps, is so pernicious, because the more and more that it is used, and I think they have studied this. I'm going to link this in the description of this this little rant that I'm doing. The more and more they give you output, the less and less accurate that it is. What does that mean for the future of digital communication when so many of these things are everywhere? And what if the same model, the use generative AI that runs ChatGPT, regardless of how many different iterations you get, becomes less and less and less accurate, but it's being encroached in more and more places? Anyway, I don't really have any meaningful answers to these questions, honestly, besides just completely, I avoid AR like it's a plague. So if you just support real artists the best that you can, do what you can to seek out things that have human input. I'm not an expert in this field. I studied computer information science for a couple years in college with an associate's degree, not even in that subject, so I'm no expert, but I just kind of want to get my thoughts out there. So what do you guys, what does everyone here think? What do the people, the he's, the she's, the they's, the mays, and everything else in between think about AI